Hey everybody, it's Will here with Zpacks, and we are about to head out on an incredible hike on the other side of the planet. We're heading to Australia, specifically Tasmania, to hike the Overland track. I didn't know much about this particular hike. I obviously had heard about it because it's kind of one of those hikes that comes up when you talk about some of the better hikes around the world. But I never thought that I would actually go and hike the Overland track just simply due to its location. But I must say I'm extremely excited to be going to Tasmania. A year from the date pretty much that we went to Patagonia, which was an epic hike around Torres del Paine. So I wanted to show you guys what I'm going to be taking with me on this hike. Now the Overland track is only about 50 miles long. It's actually a little bit shorter if you take a ferry across a lake at the southernmost part of the trek. But we are most likely going to be hiking through a rainforest around the perimeter of the lake. So that is going to bring the mile total to about 50 miles. If we had more time, we would do another trek that's in the southern part of Tasmania, but unfortunately, just to do the 50 miles with travel and everything like that, we're going to be gone for about 12 days. And that's about as long of a time as we can be gone from Zpacks. So it's going to be an incredible hike. Obviously, I'm going to be filming it. And we leave Monday, and today is Friday. So I couldn't be more excited. But let me show you guys what I'm going to be taking with me on this hike. I've got my Arc Zip here. This is my pack that I've really just grown attached to. I switched from the Arc Blast, which I liked that pack. I used it on the AT and on the PCT and on some other hikes as well. But the last couple years I've been using the Arc Zip pretty much exclusively. I really like the ability to access the pack with this front loading panel. So to me, that's a feature I can't really walk away from. So what's my pack weight? Well, my base weight here is right at 10.4 pounds. That doesn't include any food or anything like that or fuel. We're gonna have to get all of our food once we get to Tasmania. So that's just my base weight, 10.4 pounds. The temperatures that we can expect this far south, you just really never know. You kind of have to be prepared for just about any type of weather situation. I have been keeping up with the weather there, and it has been extremely warm. However, we are going to be in the mountains, so I could imagine that it's going to be pretty cool. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm preparing for any type of weather. So let me just go ahead and get into the pack here and show you exactly what I'm taking. I'm just going to pull everything out one item at a time and try to do this pretty quickly. So obviously the camera that I'm going to be using is Sony action camera, the 4K version. I'm filming with that camera right now. This is the older one. This is the camera that I'm going to be taking with me. So for a camera, I do have a nicer camera, but I'm going to be leaving that at home and just using my iPhone 8 Plus. It takes pretty good pictures, not as good as some higher end cameras obviously, but I really want to save the weight, so I'm going to be bringing just my iPhone on this particular hike. I have been bringing my drone on some of my hikes when I'm legally able to carry it, and after doing some research regarding the Overland track, drones are prohibited, so I will not be bringing my drone with me on this particular hike. I will be wearing my sunglasses by Native. I recently did a video where I talked about these sunglasses. They are hands down my favorite pair of sunglasses I've ever hiked with. They're called Native Linville, and I will put a link in the description below, so check that out if you're interested. And that was included in my base weight, even though I most likely will be wearing those the entire hike. So next is my headlamp. This is the Petzel E-Light headlamp. It is extremely lightweight. I did recently get a black diamond spot, one of the new ones, but I still just don't need something that bright, so I'm just going to be bringing my very light Petzel E-Light headlamp. Okay, so let me check the front outside pocket here and show you guys what I typically carry on the outside of my pack in the front zipper pocket. So this is just a little zip pouch from Zpacks that I carry some extra stuff in. So I have some Band-Aids, mostly for blister control, just in case. I rarely have blisters, but I still am prepared. Instead of a toothbrush, I like to carry these little brushes. These are what I usually bring with me now, and then I just dispose of them in my trash bag. as I go. I do bring a little toothpaste though in case I just want to freshen my breath up. Earplugs, I always bring earplugs and always recommend them. Obviously, if you have to sleep somewhere where people snore, I snore. I apologize for that if you ever go hiking with me. It's very important to have earplugs. In fact, I think it's probably one of the #1 things people forget to bring and always regret. Recently, when we went to the Florida Trail, we had a huge group of people, and I think most of us snored, and some people forgot the earplugs, and they were really upset about that. So if you have earplugs, you don't really have to worry if you have to sleep somewhere where there's people that are snoring. Who cares? Just put your earplugs in and you're fine. So also in this, I also will have an extra battery. So I only bring one extra battery for my action camera because I do have the ability to charge it with my anchor that I'm about to show you as well. So there's really no reason to carry a bunch of extra batteries. My anchor can charge my camera so many times and my cell phone that I just don't have to worry about running out of battery. But I do bring an extra one just in case I have a battery failure or something like that while on the trail. It would really be bad to go all the way to Australia and have something happen to my camera. So wet naps, I am gonna actually be leaving these particular ones at home and just picking some up in Australia, but I did want to show you guys, these are typically what I use for a restroom and that kind of thing, so I'm gonna be bringing those with me. I'm probably gonna pick up a lighter bag as well. That one's quite heavy and includes 50 wipes, so really not necessary. I usually try to get less than that. So here's my Zpacks food bag that I'm going to be keeping all my food in. So this will be coming with me, of course. A trash bag. I will probably bring this with me, and this is what I keep all my trash in. I have a scoop cup that I always bring just in case some of the water sources are pretty low, so I want to still be able to access the water, obviously. So a scoop cup is very important. A lighter, I will probably pick one up in Australia just because I don't typically like to fly with lighters. And my anchor, so this is a 20,000 mAh, it might be 21, 22,000, but right around 20,000 mAh. This particular one has 2 USB imports here. So you can charge this anchor twice as fast as the older versions, and it also has more lightning out speed, so it will charge your devices much faster. I have been very pleased with this anchor device. Again, I'm going to put a link to this product in the description below. Okay, so let's get into my pack now. So first off, let's just kind of go through the clothes that I'm going to be carrying in my pack. I will be probably wearing this shirt. I do like the long sleeve shirts that roll up. This is by Columbia. I typically only wear Columbia clothing. Inside my clothing bag here, this is a medium plus dry bag from Zpacks. I have my down booties. I really don't know if I'm going to need these. I don't know if the temperatures are going to be cold enough, but they are so light that I choose to carry these instead of a thicker pair of sleep socks. So these goose down socks from Zpacks, I prefer these over normal thick socks because they're lighter and they're extremely warm. So I will be bringing these with me. Also, my goose down hood. Just in case it's going to be cold. I mean, this thing weighs only a couple ounces. I bring this with me just in case it's going to be cold, so I can put this on my head and keep my ears warm because my ears do tend to get cold. So this will be coming with me as well. I will be bringing one extra pair of socks. These are just Timberland socks. I typically hike in smaller, like sock liner type socks, but unfortunately I've pretty much destroyed those and I haven't picked any up. So I'm going to be bringing these socks that I just got, and they should do the job. I'm not really too worried about it. I always bring an extra pair of underwear that I carry. These compare to like Exficio underwear that typically run about $40, but these are made by Adidas, and I'm going to put a link to this product in the description below. I picked up 2 of these. I can't remember now what the price was, like $14, $20, so way more affordable. And I compared the Exficio brand that was so expensive to these, and they are very similar. They have different types and different designs, some that have more of a mesh in the front for a little bit better ventilation, but I have been very satisfied with these particular underwear. So I always bring one extra pair of underwear. My Zpacks rain jacket, obviously bringing that with me, and my Zpacks rain pants. I'm going to be bringing those with me as well. So that pretty much covers it for the extra clothing. So I will be wearing like I said, this particular Columbia shirt with a t-shirt underneath it. So I really don't bring any extra clothing. I used to carry a lot more extra clothing, but just over the years with all the hiking that I've done, I've really come to the conclusion that I don't need to bring extra clothing besides an extra pair of socks and an extra pair of underwear. My pants are the Columbia zip-off pants, so I can convert those into shorts and then also have the pant legs if it does get cooler. So again, I just find that every time I bring extra clothing, it just stays in my pack and I never use it. If I was to get caught in a rainstorm, I'm very confident in this rain gear. I've hiked in some downpours in it, and it is the best rain suit that I've ever had. So, but if for some reason it did wet out or something like that, I would just simply take my clothes off and get in my sleeping bag. So I'm really not too worried about not carrying extra clothing. So that does it. Wait, actually there is something else down in here. Let's see. My rain mitts. So I do bring some Zpacks rain mitts as well, just in case. Keep my hands warm. But my hands stay extremely warm. I typically don't even need gloves unless it's going to be real cold. So my Thermarest Z seat, again, I never leave home without this particular accessory. I love it. It seems ridiculous, but again, if you've ever used one of these, it's great, especially if you're going to a place where it might rain a lot and you want to stop and sit down on the ground. You don't have to worry about putting your rain pants on. You can just sit on this. I love it. Okay, we're getting closer to the end here, guys. So obviously my warm jacket that I'm going to be taking, this is a prototype synthetic jacket from Zpacks. You guys, if you followed me, you've seen me wearing this. I wore this to Patagonia this past year. I wore this to Iceland this past year, and I have really been pleased with it. We're still kind of testing it and putting the finishing touches on it. There's not a release date for this jacket yet, but it's incredible. I love it. The weight is great, right around 8.5 ounces for a large jacket. So for me, I prefer synthetic jackets to down if I have one that's light enough, simply because if this gets wet, like it did in Patagonia, it still provides incredible warmth, unlike a down jacket, which would obviously no longer provide you any warmth if it got soaked. So I love that about these synthetic jackets. This thing is incredibly warm, and it's made from the same material that we use to construct our wind shell, so it provides great wind protection as well. So that's coming with me. Okay, so my cook set, I really was questioning bringing this just because I don't know if I'm actually going to be purchasing anything in Australia to cook. So this might still stay at home, but it's super lightweight. This is a Snow Peak Mini Solo. So I only bring the big pot, and inside is the Soto OD1 regulator stove that I use. So again, this might be staying at home, but it's so light, it really doesn't add much weight. Obviously though, when you add in the fuel, you are looking at around about 10, 15, something like that ounces. So it's still not super heavy if you go with the smaller fuel canister. But again, I might just leave this at home and go no cook on this particular hike. We'll see about that. Okay, so I have my sleeping bag here as well, obviously in a Zpacks Medium Plus dry bag. This is the 20-degree quilt from Zpacks. This is the classic quilt, so it weighs right around a pound. I figure that 20 degrees is going to be everything that I need. I typically sleep pretty warm anyways, so this should do the job. Don't think I need to go with anything like a 5-degree. Okay, I did recently pick up a Thermarest, not the Neo Air, but the X-Therm, the warmer sleeping pad, just because I'm going to be doing some cold weather hiking and I want to make sure that I stay warm. But this particular hike, I'm just going to be bringing the Neo Air X Lite. This is a newer pad since my most recent one that popped, as you guys might have seen. So granted, it did have quite a bit of miles on it, so I'm not too worried about it. I've never had issues. I've been carrying this particular pad for roughly almost 10 years now. So that was the first time I ever had an issue. So I'm going to be bringing the Neo Air X Lite with me. Let's see here. We got a couple more items. This is my pillow. This is from Goose Feet. Goose Feet Gear. I'm not sure if they are selling this yet on their website, but I got this directly from Ben Smith, the owner of Goose Feet, on a Florida trail hike, and I've been using it, and it's worked wonderfully. cheaper than going with pretty much the same exact thing from like a name brand company. So this is just a little knockoff product. But typically, just from my knowledge and experiences, a lot of these products are made in the same warehouses in the same plants in China. So it's pretty much the same pillow as something from like Sea Summit that would cost you about $50. Okay, last but not least, I did want to represent my water bottle here because I will be carrying something like this. I'm going to pick this up though in Australia. These Gatorade bottles are a little bit heavier, but still I wanted to have that included in my base weight to be as accurate as possible. So I will be carrying just a single bottle. I usually only carry a liter or two on me at all times. I don't need to carry more than that, and I'm not too worried about water there. And lastly here, well, we got two more items, is my water filter. Sometimes I just leave this at home. Most of the time I go no filter, but I'm not familiar with Tasmania. I imagine it is pretty wild, so I'm not really too worried. But the trail is pretty popular, so I want to make sure that I bring a filter just in case. I might end up not using it, but I want to have one just in case. So this will be coming with me as well. Okay, so obviously I'm missing one last thing in my pack. I'm going to be bringing my tent that I'm going to be using. Now, I wanted to just briefly show you guys the tent that I'm going to be using. I can't really go over much details on this particular product because it's still in development. And Joe and I are going to be testing this out. This is one of Joe's newest designs, and it's kind of a spin on the Hexamid tents that we sold, but it no longer has a mesh bottom, so it's built more like our Solplex and Duplex and Triplex tents and Altiplex with an attached ground sheet. So it's extremely light. I'm not going to give you those weights because again it's still in development and the weights could change, but I just wanted to show you it is a one-person tent, and I typically bring the Duplex with me, but I am going to be saving some weight, a substantial amount of weight actually, going with this particular tent, just to kind of give you a little bit of information. It is similar to, I would say, the Hexamid Solo, in between maybe the Solo and the Solo Plus. So it's actually got, from my experience, a little bit more interior space than the Hexamid Solo, a little bit more headroom because of the design. It's designed differently than any other tent really that Joe has ever designed. So again, I haven't used it yet, so I'm not quite sure how I will personally like it. I do like space with my tent, so I typically go with the Duplex. But let me just quickly show you it. I'm not going to really give you too much on it, but I will at least let you see what it looks like, and it'll probably make an appearance or two in our upcoming hike video of the Overland track. So let me show you that real quick. Okay guys, so this is the tent that I'm going to be bringing. Again, it's a one-person tent, but again, it's a little bit different than any other tent that Joe has designed. So you can see that it does have a attached ground sheet here and good head space. It's about the same height as our normal tents, but with this slightly different design along the top, it does allow for a little bit more head space. I do have all the guy lines strung out here, and the cut of the tent is a little bit different than some of our other tents. So all in all, I have to say that I'm pretty excited to use this tent. It's only a one-pole setup, so it does not require two poles, and I think Joe really wanted to go with a one-pole setup. We at this time don't have any plans to discontinue the Hexamid tents, but you just never really know what's going to happen with that. But again, this particular tent is similarly designed, but just with an attached ground sheet and a slightly different top, and also the walls are a little bit different design. So I'm very excited to give this tent a spin and see how it holds up. Our tents do hold up quite well in the wind, so I'm really not worried about how it's going to perform if we do come across some storms. And as you can see as well, the ground sheet is quite elevated. So again, that's something that I really love about our tents, is they provide such excellent protection in harsh conditions. So again, I'm excited to give this tent a spin, and we do have kind of a code name for it, but we do not have an official name as of right now. Well, guys, I think that pretty much covers it. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out, but 10.4 pounds base weight, that's typically on average about what I'm looking at for kind of a winter setup where I'm not having to bring too many extra things. So I feel pretty good about that base weight. Glad that I'm not going to be carrying my drone because that would add about 4 pounds, even though I would have loved to have been able to capture some of the shots. But again, it's very important to make sure that you are abiding by the rules and regulations of the particular places that you're traveling to. So I did some research and just decided that it's best to leave the drone at home. So again, guys, that's pretty much everything here. Stay tuned for the Overland Track video that will be released pretty much about 2 weeks from now. And I'm also going to be doing a video on the shoe wear that I'm going to be wearing on the Overland Track, as I've been making a couple switches here recently and testing out some other brands. So stay tuned for that video as well. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I have a lot of hikes coming up here soon, especially once this weather warms up a little bit. When I get back from the Overland Track, I will be leaving to through hike the Benton Mackay Trail about 2.5 weeks after returning from the Overland Track. So that's going to be exciting as well. So stay tuned, guys. As always, happy hiking.